Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw. It's the one with, it's a grid of 9 images. They're drawings. Are you the one who drew them, or is it somebody else who drew them?
No, so let me tell you about it. So this is well, it's a project that's been going on for quite some time. I bet you remember my friend Deccan from school.
Yep, I absolutely 100%.
When we were 15, we sat at a coffee shop and he just came back from his psychologist and he goes, I have to do this thing for you. And I'm going, what is it? He goes, let me just do this. And he drew this sketch, which is behind all these paintings. Maybe you'll be able to identify it later. He drew it and he said, okay, you need to complete each frame to a drawing, give it a name and a number in the order that you do it. And I went, okay. So I did it. And it's really interesting that we're talking today because it was doing my head in. I couldn't find that original piece. Anyway, that piece of paper, when I met Bill, fell out of a book. And I cannot tell you how it came from Israel to Australia, from when I was 15 to when I met Bill, 17 years later. And Bill was like, what is this? And I told him, and I said, hey, I should do this with you. All you got to do is complete this to a drawing, give it a name and a number. And then you sit and you talk about it. And there are basically 8 different aspects in each box. There's 8 different aspects of who you are. And of course, this grid, there's 9 of them there. So there's 9 different people that were given the same diagram and they all came up with something different. And then, it's the meaning that you gave it, but each box is actually locked on one representation or an aspect about you. So it's actually, I call it figure 8, as in figure it out. And it's really a map to who you are. It's incredible. It gives you 8 different aspects of who you are and how you say yourself. How do you grow and develop? How do you feel about freedom? How do you feel about death? How do you deal with conflicts? What do you consider your home? What is sex for you? And the last one is like your way of thinking. So there's no order to this, right? These are all parts of you. And the most beautiful thing about it is that every time I did this with a person, they end up going, oh, this is great. I really love this about myself. This might need a bit of work, but there's a great sense of self-acceptance and self-love. And then they can, they can focus on something that they want to change. So it's a very objective way that they develop, and I just encourage them or facilitate them to kind of talk about it a little more and connect the dots with a better understanding.
So for people who are listening, what you see is essentially a grid of 9 photos of pages, and each sheet of paper is divided into there are 4 squares, and they're essentially shot from above with the lighting kind of flat, and you see pencil or pen drawings from I'm assuming different people, and yeah, so the top left, it's just a lot of personal drawings of kind of illustrations of various things. Like in one of the boxes, there's like a really close up of a face with a strange nose. Another one has these many hearts. And another grid, it's like, yeah. So it's I guess from Maya's. Did I even introduce you, Maya? I just said Maya, but did I even introduce you?
You said Maya a few times, but yeah. No.
You are my cousin Maya.
Maya from Sydney. Yay!
Whoop whoop.
Yeah. Well, you kind of indirectly, we were talking about our grandmother.
Yeah, right. So you've done these drawings, and have you done these just as a personal project, or have you done this actually with people, for people, as a kind of self-development for them as a facilitator?
So interestingly, you're asking me, where am I in my life? I feel like I'm in a very pivoting point where this is going to become my life, my project. I think this would be something that I will develop into my complete work. Like I really feel this is my purpose in bringing about equality and acceptance, and also a way to express. So my main vision is to work with teenagers to help them identify who they are, what they are, but specifically around sexuality and expression around that. So this
Mm-hmm.
is just a tool that would. So when I've put it together, like I've put them all together and then put it in a grid. So I've taken individual photos and made one photo out of it, to create sort of like an ad, if you like, or my vision would be that all these papers will be hanging along the room. So if we were doing a workshop, it'll be,
Mm.
hi, I'm Ran, this is me, right? And then everyone will
Mm-hmm.
know all these different parts, whoever's participating in the workshop. So this was just the beginning of me putting them together. So far, I have done them only individually.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm trying to work on how to do this in a group.
Wow.
And I'm not even sure if it's going to work.
Right.
Like technically, I need to work out how to do it, how to ask the questions. Do you go, because everyone will have a different focus,
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
look at. So it
Mm-hmm.
might go a little bit differently. But this is where I'm heading. So I'm really hoping to develop this to something a little bigger to reach obviously more people, but specifically to create workshops for teenagers and their parents.
Wow, wow, wow. When you moved to Australia, how old were you?
23.
23. And
You were about the same. When did you move to Hong Kong?
oh no, that was years later. I was 33
Oh, really?
ish. Yeah, yeah. The work that I do in Hong Kong as a consultant and all that stuff, I work a lot with entrepreneurs and business owners and startup people. And so when you arrived in Sydney, how long did it take before you started your own business?
No, it took a while. 23. And then I started studying beauty. And then I was working in a college for a couple of years. Then I was working for someone for a little while. And then I finally opened Yofi Skincare, working from home.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'd say like 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, so when I stayed at your place to go to that conference, are you
Yeah,
still doing that? Are you still doing that? Or no, you've moved on from that?
I am still doing that. But I just got off the phone with someone who might take over so I
Oh,
can do
wow.
this. That's what I said. I am at a real pivoting point. So, I mean, we'll see. I still really want to take care of my clients because they mean a lot to me. And I feel like I actually really enjoy what I do. So I would like to reduce it maybe to 2 days and then do that and develop that until I have, at least until it's making money and I
Mm-hmm.
can step away
Mm-hmm.
from the beauty. But also, I think at the moment it's just in a developing stage. But yeah, still to answer your question, I'm still doing it. Yeah.
It's amazing. So
I would love to. Maybe one day we can sit together and I can do that with you, and you can
sure.
have that whole experience. It's quite
Yeah, yeah.
quite amazing.
Can you do it many times for the same person, or once you kind of know the mechanics, it kind of not ruins it, but it sort of changes it?
So here's the thing. This is my original one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you can see it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in the back of it is Bill's, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, sweet.
And it hasn't really changed. I think I mean, obviously this is going into your unconscious mind. This is how it's designed. So
Mm-hmm.
if you go into it knowing what box you're filling in,
Yeah,
it
that's what I
defeats
mean.
the purpose.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So when it's a kind of like a naked, when it's just got the diagram, it's not
Yeah,
here, but when it's just a plain diagram and you don't know what each box represents, you just go with it. And I really encourage people to just go with what comes, right?
yeah,
Not to
yeah.
think about it too much. Just go for it. And then when we talk about it, it's like
That's where,
it
yeah.
makes sense. It makes perfect sense, and it works every time. And so, look, I was thinking of creating an app that you can maybe do that, or how do you go about it to not. I mean, eventually, when it'll be out there, people will know what each box represents, so
Sure.
maybe they'll know it. But I think once you really sit in that intimacy, you get there.
Here's what I see on your face. Here's what I'm getting out of your
Hmm.
voice. Here's what, from your words. Okay, so when I see this diagram, whatever, it's not magic, but it's magical in that you put down and you create whatever sequence or whatever, and yeah, it just represents what's in your head, and then you give it meaning. And I think that having you there as a facilitator to comment and to guide the client or whatever the person to discover what's may have been in a blind spot, that they're just like all of a sudden like an awakening, like, oh, I didn't realize that that's me. And you say, well, okay, now you do. How do you move from there? I think that's probably very powerful. And what I can see on your face is that this stage of life where you're in right now, especially trying to help teenagers who are, I mean, of all the people who are alive, that's when you probably hit your greatest crises. It's a very generous thing to want to do, right?
100%. And you're spot on. And so the last couple of years, I acquired a counseling diploma, and then I got into the NLP, and I'm now repeating the NLP and doing the NLP master practice. So it will just give me more tools on how to navigate conversations and not be scared when I can see someone's feelings come up, how to be able to guide them through it safely, but kind of, I don't like the word breakthrough, but really get them to really feel, what is happening, and be okay with it, because that's who they are. This is really essentially how you've been wired. But then you can look at it and go, okay, this is mom and dad's contribution to the way I think and operate. I can now, as an adult, and as I want to create my own choices, I can look at it and go, I really like that. I don't really like that. I would like to change that. And so that's spot on. And I think, and this is what I said before, that the main thing that I've noticed working with, because I've been doing this with all different people, different ages, different, sort of backgrounds, but it's completely common that the conclusion at the end of everything is there's such a strong self-acceptance. And I think if teenagers will accept, hey, this is who I am. So like there's good, there's bad, there's yin and yang, there's, there's something to correct, there's something to improve on. I think it's a great place if teenagers would feel that way.
Yeah. So how far along are you with this business? What I want to say is, if you've got a website, let's promote it. Let's get you some people,
So it's funny because I did have a website for like literally 5 minutes. We got onto one of those GoDaddy thing and we created it quickly because I'm very fortunate to have Bill to just throw it together.
Right.
And then we didn't decide on a name, so we just dropped it. So no, I do not have the website, and it's still in the process of, like I said, I still need to sort of master my craft, if you like. So working one-on-one is fine. Is working in a group is a different thing. So one of my challenges was to create. Maybe it's not possible with adults to actually create a group of, say, 4 people, complete strangers. I think would work better to sit in a Zoom meeting and do this process together.
Wow.
So again, this is still in the
early
creative
stage
side of how to put it together. Yeah. But I have been working on it from different angles with different people. So it'll come together.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.